Everybody, what is going on? It is Crypto Bobby. Hope you are having a great day, great night, wherever you might be watching in from. What is up, Sammy? What's up, Edgar? Hope you guys are having a solid Saturday so far. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to join and wanted to pop in and talk a little bit about what's been happening in the crypto markets in the past 24 hours or so on this hot as hell Saturday afternoon in New York City. What's up, John? Hope all is well there too. But yeah, over the course of the past 24 hours, Bitcoin itself made a pretty significant move upwards from the $5,800 range all the way up to close to $6,500. Got shut down a little bit there, but now hovering back above 6,300. And the rest of the market as a whole as well has it was up about $20 billion in the past 24 hours. Right now it's down to about $18 billion in terms of a positive move within the past 24 hours. However, it's obviously on a pretty significant pullback. So while it's been a nice move, it's been maybe 8, 9, 10% for the entire crypto market. It's not nobody's paying the bills just from that move alone, unless you made a pretty significant trade right prior to. What is up, Bradley? What's up, Adam? Heather, what's going on? Daniel, hope all is well. And taking a look, we'll pop over to CoinMarketCap here, as well as on-chain FX. I'll pull up on-chain FX. Hopefully the quality of the stream is a little bit better. Ended up getting myself a new computer because my laptop kept dying, so I'm running on a desktop right now that has a 1080 or 1080 Ti, which hopefully will allow this stream to actually function without crashing like it kind of has in the past in some respects. Hopefully you'll notice and get a better experience there and from all that. But yeah, so popping over on-chain FX, like I said, it's been a pretty solid day in the market. Bitcoin up 7%, and a lot of the other altcoins have actually followed a little bit heavier. Hop over here. Power Ledger had a ridiculously strong move. 10x went up big. Blue Zell, 0x, crazy strong move as well. Status, Populous, Elf, Polymath. I mean, there's a lot of widely held tokens there making some strong moves. But if we look, I mean, let's see, we'll pull up 7-day change. I would venture to say still down. Actually, 7-day change versus USD. Some of them are doing pretty well. So taking a look at some of these questions, 30% for 0x seems like some insider trading with Coinbase Paradox acquisition. I mean, first of all, there's a lot of other cryptocurrencies that are up. I mean, not a lot, but there's a number of other cryptocurrencies that are up pretty big on the day. I mean, the Coinbase Paradox acquisition is also, I mean, that's been public knowledge for a while. I don't know how that would necessarily be. Something that would be kind of traded behind the scenes to justify that type of move. So I would personally doubt that Coinbase and that Coinbase Paradox right now has any significant impact on the price of ZRX moving. I'm not sure what that might. I know ZRX, I believe, released V2 or their kind of new version of the ZRX protocol, which is pretty impressive stuff, pretty cool stuff. Like what they're doing over there, obviously. So taking a look here. What's up, Edgar? Hey, Bobby, any thoughts why VeChain actually managed to buy the dip during mainnet launch while EOS did a 4x uprun during the exact same thing? Well, I mean, first of all, VeChain, if we pop, I'll pull over VeChain. I mean, VeChain's had a pretty significant run in the past. Like, let's take a look here with chart ever loads. I mean, VeChain I'm not going to say VeChain has had its day in the sun, but VeChain had a massive run up. Not to say that EOS didn't, but I do think that there was a lot of like interesting. A lot of people are hyping EOS really, really hard. Granted, VeChain has, I think, some really impressive technology and a lot of strong backing. But I think that like EOS kind of was probably like the #1 hyped thing going into mainnet out of any crypto asset out there, in my opinion. A lot of large scale like crypto funds were kind of pumping EOS and talking about EOS in a lot of depth, and saying, you know, how revolutionary it was going to be, and it's really going to kind of dominate and be the next Ethereum. And I think people kind of fell into that news cycle and really bought into it heavily. I haven't seen, I mean, there's been a lot of positive news about VeChain in general, but especially with mainnet launch. However, I don't necessarily think that it has the level of hype and eyeballs on it that EOS has, at least just from my like sense and kind of gauge of the market as a whole. So third man crypto, everyone is making mainnet now, no pumps anymore. I do think that it's interesting in my opinion to watch a lot of these assets, and this is one thing that I'm really keeping an eye on when it comes to either EOS or Tron or VeChain. I'm looking to see like the performance of some of these assets when they do hit mainnet, because traditionally speaking, at least for some of these, you look at EOS, you look at some of these other kind of plays as well, they hit mainnet and they don't perform very well in terms of price, because a lot of the speculation gets taken out of it. People trade up into mainnet. Oh, it's going to be this huge deal. It's going to be huge. It's going to be massive. And then the second that mainnet happens, there's a pretty big sell off. So I'm keeping an eye on that for a lot of these different assets. If there's an opportunity to either take the opposite side of that trade, or just to kind of see if there's maybe an opportunity to buy a pretty significant pullback after mainnet once things cool down a little bit. That's something that I'm looking at, is just the price, the performance of these cryptocurrencies when they do hit mainnet, because I think some people who are maybe newer to the space would think, okay, it's going to hit mainnet, it's going to go, you know, now there's actually utility, it's going to go through the roof. Not necessarily the case. A lot of times there's that removes an element of speculation, that removes an element of heavy speculation that most people would like to kind of participate in. Maximilian, really good question, man. What's the general idea on cash burn and fundraising in crypto projects when they are not yet cash positive through revenues and ICO money ran out? I do think that is so. That is something that I actually think about quite a bit, especially for. So it depends on the project. It depends on when a company raised money. There's a lot of factors and variables. Treasury management right now, it's an interesting topic for a lot of people, and there's actually funds out there there are crypto funds out there that are specifically designed just to manage the treasuries of some of these companies that raise money during an ICO. Like, let's say you raised $10 million in ETH back in June or July or something like that, when the price of Ethereum was lower, maybe, or it was maybe even earlier. You might have $100 million in the bank in either ETH or in some other form of asset. I do think that there are companies that have a ton of money in the bank, or a ton of ETH in the bank, and then there are also companies that raised money and the price of they either raised money when the price of ETH was really high and it's a lot lower now, or just they don't have as much money in the bank as they think they need. And the vast majority of companies in the crypto space right now are not generating revenue. They're not cash flow positive, and they're going to need to figure out how to do that and how to make money, because you can't, whatever it is, 10, 15, 20 million dollars with fancy offices and these trips and conferences and all that type of stuff. That's great. That's cool for maybe a year or two, but there's going to be a point in time where you're going to actually need to make revenue to create a sustainable business. And I do think that there is going to be an opportunity. To or you're going to see a point in time where there are going to be companies that literally just run out of money, and they're basically going to be like ghost projects. And you're going to have these tokens trading with like no team really working on them, because the team basically ran out of money. I think that's probably not going to happen like yet, because if you had any sense of just not necessarily intelligence, but like token design and the ICO itself, you'll be able to keep that money rolling. It looks like there's a bunch of people scamming. Timeout. Somebody comments Zinfin one more time, I'm going to punch you in the face. What is this? They got a bunch of scammers. What's up, everybody? What's up, scammers? Hope all is well. Proof of work 3D. You guys are freaking weird, man. Some of you guys are weird. But yeah, I mean, I think there is going to be a time where you're going to see like these ghost kind of ghost projects, and that is something you're going to want to keep an eye on, because there are going to be companies that literally burn through all their ICO cash. They're not going to manage things properly. And then, I mean, if the market is rational, you would think that the price of the token would go down pretty significantly. Who knows? Because the market is not necessarily rational. Enormous liking the new updated portfolio. Yeah, I could pull that up. We'll talk about that for a second. What we got? So just, I mean, in the updated portfolio, I updated this 2 days ago. In case you guys haven't seen it, I'll pull it up, or I'll put a link into the description right now for you. But I mean, not too many crazy updates to it. If there's any specific questions that you guys have, I mean, right now the largest percentage of my holdings is 100. It's Bitcoin. It's definitely Bitcoin. I think that there are just a lot of general reasons why I've kind of been consolidating some of my holdings into Bitcoin. And I do have, obviously, I mean, it's 40-60 Bitcoin altcoins, but I think that like the value of Bitcoin right now, if I put fresh fiat into the market, it's going to be in Bitcoin. I'm going to be buying Bitcoin. So if I'm taking fresh fiat into the market, it's going to be with Bitcoin. But I mean, outside of that, I do have a decent holding now of Gincoin with the masternodes there. That has been working out all right for me so far. I know a lot of people kind of debate whether or not masternodes are good, bad, and see what's happening. Yeah, Robert, let's do that, babe. Let's do it. Love you too. But outside of that, I mean, with Gincoin, I have a decent holding in that. Sen is another one. Consensus, that is one that a lot of the guys on crypto Twitter have been talking about and been buying bags of. So Sen's another one. Trying to scale more and more into Monero as well. I think Monero is getting added to Treasury. It's getting added to Ledger. I think it's going to be a lot more accessible to a lot more people. And I do think the value of private transactions and not opt-in privacy, but actually like fully private is going to be solid. A couple bags that have been absolutely crushing me. Raven has not done very well. Polyswarm has I've gotten murdered on Polyswarm. Basically to the point where there's not enough liquidity for me to even exit my bags if I wanted to. So stuck in those bags, but it is what it is. What's up, Reynaldo? Hope all is well. What's good, Bobby? Do you think we're on a small run before price dips to 5K or lower? I personally, right now, with the way things are, I am not. I'm kind of, unless we break through like 6,800, I'm not super confident that this is going to be a run that moves upwards. I'm pretty much massively long, or like mostly long in the space. I do have cash on the side that's ready to buy if we dip like well below 6. Like we haven't really broken through whatever 50. We haven't really broken through 58, gone below that too heavily, but I don't think we're out of the woodwork yet at all. That's just kind of my personal feeling. I think the sentiment on Twitter, the sentiment on some of the websites, like, you know, as soon as Bitcoin goes up 7-8%, people get super excited again, happy, jovial, whatever. I don't think we're out of the woodwork yet. I'm waiting to see. I'm just kind of waiting for the market to prove that. I don't think we've hit bottom, and I'm keeping cash on the sidelines to quote unquote buy the dip in case we go to like the low 5s or potentially below that. I don't necessarily know if we're gonna break through 5K. If we do, all hell is gonna break loose. But if we do break through 5K, I'm gonna buy a ton of Bitcoin. Dwayne Harris, just because you can put your shit on a treasure, don't make it worth shit. Not necessarily true. When you talk about something like, I would highly disagree with that, actually. Especially when you're talking about Monero. Monero is traditionally, some other assets doesn't necessarily mean anything. If it's an ERC20 token, whatever, doesn't necessarily mean anything. Monero is different because Monero has traditionally been, if anybody's actually used Monero for the way it's kind of intended, like the private nature of it, not just like buying it on Binance or Bittrex or wherever else, but if you've actually, like, if you're trying to store Monero somewhere else, it's not the easiest cryptocurrency or blockchain to utilize, because hardware wallets really haven't been enabled with Monero, but the fact that Treasury and Ledger are now enabling Monero support, that's really going to boost the accessibility of using Monero for private transactions. And I do think that that might correlate. It doesn't necessarily mean it will absolutely correlate to the value, but I do think that in the long run, you're going to see more and more people kind of looking at Monero and using it more and more often because it's easier to use rather than having a desktop client or some of these other kind of unproven clients out there. I do think that having it on a Treasury or a Ledger does mean and does make it worth something. Zcash is king of privacy. Monero is queen. There's a lot of debate between which one is better, Zcash or Monero. Personally, I own both. There are people that really don't like Zcash because of the founder's reward. You saw recently Zuko, who is the kind of founder of Zcash, actually gets, I think it's like $3 million a year paid in Zcash from as like actually salary from the founder's reward. That's up pretty significantly. I think it's up like 33x because the price of Zcash has gone up quite a bit. But some people really don't like that because they're essentially like paying for somebody else's salary, and that's not necessarily the most decentralized thing in the world. And also with Zcash, it's optional privacy. It's not with Monero, the privacy is like you can't opt out of the privacy. It's just private. Zcash is optional privacy, and some people argue that if it's optional privacy, it's not really fully private at all. So that's one of the big arguments. There's a couple other things around that as well. Zcash just had ZCon, some big Zcash conference that went on in the past week or so. So I think there was a lot of interesting information. I heard that was a good conference to be at, but I don't necessarily know. I personally think privacy coins are going to be a really big deal. I don't necessarily know which one will win, so I choose to own both. Yeah, Robert S. I tend to agree with you. Stack Monero and Zcash, period. I think stacking Monero, Zcash, and Bitcoin are that's fairly, I don't want to say safe bets, but in my as safe as you can get when it comes to cryptocurrency. I'm definitely interested in stacking Bitcoin number one, Monero probably number two, Zcash not so much number three, but I think Zcash as well. I'm personally, if when it comes down to just Monero versus Zcash, I'm a little bit more of a believer in Monero than I am in Zcash because of the optional privacy features, and because I think a lot of people don't like the founder's reward and a lot of the other components and kind of quote unquote centralization of Zcash. But you can make some arguments the other way around because of the optional privacy. You have Zcash traded on Gemini, or Zcash is, I believe, traded on Gemini now, and was approved by the New York Department of Financial Services to be traded on Gemini, which is pretty crazy. So you can look at that as a good and bad thing. Drew K, how is employment at AirSwap? It's going well, man. Really enjoying it. Bobby shitcoin holder. Thanks, Ephraim. So Maximilian says, is 2018 a year of high-speed blockchains with a TPS rush? So transactions per second rush. So I've been getting a lot of people like tweeting. Where's credits? We'll pull up credits crypto. Hop over here. So a lot of people were tweeting this at me recently, saying like, or somebody asked about this recently, saying, okay, credits is they're gonna do 1 million transactions per second. This is going to be huge. This is going to be fantastic. They've proved that they could do however many transactions per second. Like, cool, that's fine. When it comes down to some of these blockchain solutions that advertise that they can do a massive amount of transactions per second, number one, I am typically I'm typically very skeptical. I'll see it. I'd prefer to see it in action. But when you're looking at scalability and when you're looking at these super fast blockchains, a lot of that comes to the cost of centralization. And the value of blockchains, in my opinion, is having a decentralized solution. You look at EOS. EOS is more scalable than, or has more transaction throughput than Bitcoin, than Ethereum right now. But there are 21 block producers, so there is a level of centralization there. Yes, the block producers are voted by other people, and it's like a little mini governance structure, whatever it might be. Credits, I think I haven't done the full kind of due diligence into it, but when somebody says, okay, like we can do 1 million transactions per second, great. What's the trade-off? Is it centralization? Is it something else? And also to that point too, and this is a big point, but you can do, okay, let's just say it's super decentralized. You can do 1 million transactions per second. Is anybody actually using it? Like, you look at a lot of these mainnet cryptocurrencies that are incredibly scalable, and there's like 2 transactions going through per block. Like, who gives a crap if it's scalable if literally nobody is actually using the system? That's kind of my personal opinion on it in general. So I do think, like, you have to take all those things into consideration. To be honest, a lot of it, in my opinion, it's marketing fluff. It's just like buzzwords and that type of thing. And like, yeah, that's a great investment thesis to get behind. I would also caution you, or I would recommend that any of these things where like you can do a bajillion transactions per second, can somebody who is actually a software engineer or like technically capable verify that? Don't trust what other people are saying. Like, don't trust the marketing spins. I don't trust the marketing spins. I don't think you should trust the marketing spins. I think you want to verify that. And I personally don't have the technical capabilities. I don't have the technical intelligence to actually verify whether or not. But I will reach out to friends and colleagues who can actually look into some of the code and see whether or not this is ridiculous or whether or not this is legitimate. Todd Mullis, Decentraland coming to Oculus Go, thoughts? So decentralized mana. There are a lot of people I've had some friends that have gotten I believe that have seen a demo of Decentraland and really like it. We were actually talking about that in the office talking about Decentraland in the office the other day, which was some of my colleagues are pretty interested in what Decentraland is doing as well. I think it's a pretty cool project. I haven't gotten a chance to see it in action, but it can potentially be pretty fun. I haven't gotten a chance to use it. Maybe I'll start playing around with it. That could be something rather than picking up a video game or something like that. Maybe I'll start playing around with this a little bit more now that I have a computer that can probably actually run some of this stuff. So haven't gotten a chance to take a look into it in full detail, but from like a price standpoint or what the Oculus Go info is. But a lot of my friends like really like this project. I think they're also backed by DCG and a couple other companies there too. Hey Sandra, what's going on? Thank you very much for the super chat. I really do appreciate that. This is my first time giving money this way. Well, I appreciate that very much, Sandra. Thank you. Crash Crosby, what's up, brother? A lot of guys, including myself, just thinking the market is going to continue to fall. We have lost interest. Maybe the market is about to bull run since no one thinks it will. Thanks for your insight. I mean, that's kind of the nature. I think that's the nature of these cryptocurrency markets, to be honest with you. Like, there are a lot of people, like, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, like when I got into crypto in late 2013, 2014, I bought the top of Bitcoin at like $1,000. It bled all the way down to $250. And I lost a lot of interest in it because it was a slow, like continual death bleed out. And I missed out on a lot of opportunities because I wasn't like able to stay disciplined and to just kind of understand that the market was going to last. I didn't necessarily have the level of conviction that I do now in the crypto asset market and just the industry in general. And now that I do, even when the price impacts are obviously negative right now, I learned from kind of my mistakes in the past, and I missed out on. I don't want to miss out on future opportunities, even if the market continues to dip. I am personally confident that we will see a rebound. I have no idea when that will be, but I know that if I lose interest and if I don't stay disciplined, just like continuing to educate myself and continuing to keep track of things, then there are going to be opportunities that I will miss out and I will regret looking back on it. So that's kind of my thought process just in general on that. Dale Thomas, what's up, brother? On ramps for future security token offerings, BTC or fiat. I do believe that I do believe that there's probably going to be both. You should probably also include ETH in that as well. I think ETH might be over BTC. Most of the security token offering standards are built on Ethereum. So you have Securitize, which has the DS standard, which is kind of a version of the an Ethereum token standard. You have, on the other end of the spectrum, you have Harbor, which is building the R standard. But I do believe that, primarily speaking, you're going to be looking at both Ethereum as well as potentially fiat too. The fiat gateways there as well. So if you put in a certain amount of money, you'll get that certain amount of tokens back. But I think the on-ramp is going to be both mostly fiat as well as ETH. I'm not sure. I think Bitcoin as well. But I haven't gotten a chance to participate in STO yet. I've been working on a lot of different security token type stuff, but kind of my thoughts in general on that. ECA is teaming with a crypto-friendly ATM and point-of-sale company to push towards mass adoption. Small cap coin and new company, but good idea. What do you think? I'll pull up ECA. Not that small cap. Hold on. Allergies. So where is it trading at? It went up to 150. Only on really Cryptopia. But I haven't done an incredible amount of due diligence on Electra at this point, so I can't really give any thoughts on it. Obviously, anybody that's trying to push towards mass adoption is great. Is that a marketing spin or is that not? I think that's part of the thought process there is, are they actually pushing towards mass adoption, or is it just something that either pump up the price or are they actually kind of helping to push things forward? One thing I would say too is having an opportunity recently to use like BitPay online and some of these other kind of merchant providers. I think there's a lot of opportunity to just make it a better experience. BitPay itself, like I use Newegg, BitPay itself to leverage that was not like a great user experience. You had to send Bitcoin to like a BitPay wallet. Just wasn't the best experience, at least in my mind. So I just think there's a lot of different opportunity for merchant adoption to really get better in the long run. And I also think that the conversation around stablecoins and just the volatility make it so that a lot of people just don't want to spend their cryptocurrency. There's a lot of people that don't have any interest in spending cryptocurrency because it would, if I buy my computer for $1,000 with Bitcoin and the price of Bitcoin goes from $6,000 to $12,000, I could have bought two computers, or I could have bought a computer that was twice as nice or something like that. That is an issue when it comes down to actual merchant adoption. It's just the volatility of these assets, because people are, I think, hesitant to spend on something that could go up pretty significantly, or it'd be nice if you spend it and it drops a bunch and hey, you got a lot more value for it. Paul Lindsay, what's up, brother? Always good to see you. Todd Mullis. So ETC, where's the 51 attack? 51 attack. We've talked about this a little bit before. Let's see. Website here. Trying to see. I forget what it's called. Go. One crypto, boom. Yeah, so according to this website, this is something that circulated around quite a bit previously. Sam Rosenberg, you do not insult Dogecoin in my chat, brother. You do not talk about Dogecoin. You do not say a bad word about Dogecoin. Dogecoin is not monopoly money. It is the internet money of the future. Jackson Palmer has been my hero, is always my hero. Dogecoin is the reason I got into cryptocurrency. Dogecoin was here before Bitcoin Cash. Dogecoin will be here after Bitcoin Cash. You take that Dogecoin slander and you walk it right out the door, babe. But yeah, this website. So this website we've talked about a little bit in the past, but it goes to show the cost of a 51% attack mining wise for some of these crypto assets. And if you look at it to potentially attack Ethereum Classic, as somebody mentioned, that you could do that for $15,000 for a $1.6 billion cryptocurrency. In relation to some of these other assets, it's a fairly low amount, but at the same point in time, I think there are a lot of these assets are pretty vulnerable to. I think a lot of these assets are pretty vulnerable to 51% attacks. We saw that with the Zencash 51% attack and double spend. We've seen that with a couple different. Bitcoin Gold was 51% attacked. I mean, and you're talking about an asset that is $430 million market cap, and you could technically 51% attack it for $2,000. Pretty crazy. Doge plug. One Dogecoin always equals one Dogecoin. Frank Turney, what's up, brother? Thank you very much. Yeah, Dogecoin. Now, with that $10, I might buy $10 for the Dogecoin. Gotta roll with it. Ralph, what's up, man? Can't believe Ontology Mainnet launch day and zero pump. I mean, I talked about it before. Maybe you weren't here previously, but typically, from what I've seen, and I'm continuing to look at this, but typically when you look at mainnets, most of the time it's not associated with a pump at all. I mean, most of the time when you have a mainnet launch, you're talking about when you have a mainnet launch, the majority of the time you're talking about the asset selling off into that mainnet launch, because it's the buy the rumor, sell the news. I joke and say that mainnet is, buy the testnet, sell the mainnet. I kind of believe that is still the case. Let's pop over here to CoinDesk, I think. Yep, VeChain launched mainnet, $700 billion cryptocurrency. Ontology is about to go live. Yeah, article. I didn't get a chance to fully read the article, but it's pretty crazy too to see. How much is Neo trading at right now? Where's Neo? Like, Ontology is almost, if Neo keeps moving down, Ontology is almost like potentially going to be more valuable than the network is built upon. I've been gone for 8 months. How's my BitConnect doing? Don't look. You're wrecked. You dead. Jack Ross, about to try AirSwap with some Zilliqa. Love to see some new stuff being added. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you guys haven't tried it too, I would definitely, or you got AirSwap.io trade. I would definitely recommend it. Obviously, I'm an employee of AirSwap. I don't have MetaMask on new computer, so I don't have MetaMask on it. But yeah, there's a bunch of different assets on it now. I started off, I think, with about 25 and trying to add as many as, obviously as many good ones as possible for ERC20 tokens. But definitely give it a shot. Yeah, speaking of Decentraland, there's a lot of solid assets that you can buy, and it's pretty damn easy to plug in your Ledger or Treasure or MetaMask, whatever it might be. I'm biased, but I think the user experience to buy and sell is pretty damn good. Hey Bobby, any thoughts on Zebi? Thanks. Great live stream. Appreciate it, brother. Where's Zebi? Wrecked. Not showing a lot of steam. Interesting that the biggest market is LA token. over IDEX. I feel like I saw somebody from, I think I actually saw somebody. I was at a conference where the CEO of Zebi spoke. Haven't looked into it too much. Experience with Microsoft, Oracle, former Oracle employee here. What's up, folks? I have to dive into it a little bit more. I don't really know, and being pretty frank, I don't know crap about the tech market in India at all. So my level of research and diligence and intelligence on that is probably not the best. So Paul Jeffries, what's up, brother? Coinbase. So let's see. I'll take a look at that. I didn't even know. What's different? I haven't had a chance to fully look into that. If that is the case, where they switched over from GDAX to Coinbase Pro, and they now insure not only USD balances but other assets. That's really important. That's nice. I've heard personally that Coinbase is kind of working on almost like insuring themselves, and they're also building out obviously their own custodianship services as well. So that would make sense to me. That would be big for the industry if it's something that's actually like really legit, and they are insuring the assets behind it in the event of a, you know, in the event of a hack where they get hacked and they lose your Bitcoin. If that is secured, that is I think that's pretty damn important. No more GDAX. Is Coinbase Pro the same thing? Yeah, it is. It's literally like here. If we pop up, let's see here. I mean, it's basically looks like the exact same thing as it. User interface actually, I think, a little bit prettier. Nice user interface now. But yeah, I think it's. I mean, it's pretty much the exact same thing. There's some slight tweaks, obviously, but branding wise, and they're trying to make it. I think it makes sense when you think about it to not have two separately named products and platforms. It probably just helps to consolidate their brand and marketing efforts in general. Somebody said, you know, am I ignoring Elastos? No, I didn't get to that. Relax, Kevin. Thoughts on Elastos? I always get asked about Elastos. I still haven't read the whole white paper. So I read. I'll pull it up. I jumped into the white paper a little bit recently. Sounded. Let's pull it up here. White paper. My computer loads. Pull it up on the other screen. A lot of people seem very interested in Elastos. Not exactly sure the deal with it, but it's, I mean, to me, it's another blockchain solution. Do blockchains and try like things that try to be Ethereum or try to be competitive to Ethereum or value add from Bitcoin to Ethereum to the third gen platform, do they typically pump? Yes. Do they typically do pretty well? Yes. Does that necessarily mean that it's that it should be, or it's any better than anything else? Not necessarily. It's another DApp platform. Do I think it's probably a little bit repetitive? Yeah, I think so. there was nothing really within this that I saw that was like holy crap awesome for me. One thing that I looked at that was, I mean, granted, you could say this about some other projects, but the actual token sale distribution, where only 24% of it went to the crowdfund itself, and the other 50% is the ecosystem development, angel investors, and the actual foundation itself. But I don't know. There was nothing in the white paper, and I haven't gotten a chance to evaluate the technology at all, but there was nothing in the white paper that really stuck out to me as like super interesting, to be honest with you. Operating system of the internet marketing BS. That's kind of what I thought. Are you into Electronium? No, absolutely not. No, I'm not into Electronium at all. No, I'm not an ETN guy at all. But mobile mining, everybody loves Electronium because mobile mining. The fact that Electronium is worth $75 million still blows my freaking mind. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I've been critical of Electronium ever from the start. I mean, if you bought into Electronium early, like it absolutely pumped. Like, and there are a lot of people that I don't know. To me, like Electronium is like the perfect. There are so many tokens out there that just have like, I think, and yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm being mean, but I think terrible technology. But like you can have there's just a good like simple marketing pitch for retail investors, and Electronium is one of those. It's the mobile mining cryptocurrency. It's the mobile cryptocurrency. We're pushing forward mass adoption. You can mine on your phone. You can do all this stuff. It's like, but is that actually necessary? Is anybody like using it? No. When Tron Moon? I don't know. You can short it now. You can short it on BitMEX. Willis, is Bobby holding any LTC? You can. Hey, what's up, man? No, Bobby is not holding. Speaking in the third person, no, right now Bobby is not holding any Litecoin. You can check out my portfolio at any point in time. I'll check it out at any point in time right here. I do not have any Litecoin right now. I've made some trades in Litecoin in the past. I do not have any ownership in it right now, or I just don't have any. For me personally, I think it's a little bit like when I look at different assets, I think it's a little bit repetitive in terms of like Bitcoin right now, just with like the investment thesis around Litecoin. I think with where Bitcoin is and the potential adoption of Lightning Network, SegWit, and the relatively low transaction costs, while Litecoin is easy to use, if you want to switch something between an exchange in 5 seconds, you can absolutely do that with Litecoin. But I think it's a little bit, in some cases, repetitive. So I don't have any Litecoin for the time being. John McGuffin, have you run any transactions on the EOS network? I have not yet. Been blown away by how fast and smooth it worked. Well, that's good. I mean, I personally don't own EOS. I've been fairly critical of the launch, but if it's working well and it's usable, I do, like I've said before, I do think EOS itself is going to be a really interesting experiment to watch play out in real time, because number one, they raise so much money, so there's a huge target on their back. Anything that happens, it's always, hey, this $4 billion cryptocurrency did this $4 billion cryptocurrency did that. So I would rather not see EOS shit the bed, because if they do, it's going to be, you're going to see stuff in the New York Times and Bloomberg, this $4 billion cryptocurrency raised all this money and they couldn't do this or they couldn't do that. But I am a little bit skeptical of just the governance model in general. But if it, I think there may be some interesting use cases for Ethereum, or excuse me, for EOS. We'll have to see how that ends up panning out. Outside of that, guys, I am my head's still pounding a little bit from last night, so I need to take the edge off with maybe a beer, maybe not. I've been crushing Excedrin and Poland Spring so far, but need to go to something that is potentially beer and potentially a lot of beer. So I'm going to enjoy the 90-something degree day in New York City. Hope you folks had a good time today with this little crypto happy hour. Hopefully the bounce was a nice little bit of a relief for you. If you are new to the channel by any chance, hit that subscribe button, the notify bell, and if you like this video, throw me a thumbs up, throw a like. I would really appreciate that. It helps to spread this video out to more people afterwards. So anytime you guys can hit the like button on the videos, I really do. No BS. Appreciate it. Take it easy, everybody. Have a good one. Peace.